Hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Feast of Dice. I'm your DM, Elijah Goodall, and we are finishing up our first little chapter of a side story in Arc 3, happening in an alternate timeline. When we left everyone last, Nyx and Fauna had snuck through the door after Perrin, who was following Eva to, we'll call it a situation. Wandering off separate from that, Vox, you were headed down one of the many halls of the Black Mountain when a small yellow bird with like two long feathers, almost like little twin tails coming off of it, came fluttering out from the reading room where Fauna has spent a lot of her time over the last year here in the Black Mountain. You're all 14, 15 years old now, just kind of starting into your teenage years. Oxus, this bird flits out, and down the hall you see it pause for a moment, stop on a vine that is tumbling out of the reading room, and just perch, cock its head at you for a moment, and then it flits off down the hall, pausing at another doorway about 40 or 50 feet down and looking back at you again, expectantly.
Yeah, Vox is going to follow that bird. She's still kind of in a huff, getting over a bickerment with Perrin being hard on them all. So she's just kind of huffing and puffing, following the bird.
Yeah. You are following this bird. Continues, like, it'll go anywhere from 30 to 40 feet away from you each time, and then kind of rest further down the hallway. Wait for you.
Right, bird. I don't know where we're going, but after you, I guess.
I think padding behind you is Brightburn. Just faithfully, big old greyhound, not making a lot of noise, not getting that excited about the bird either, like more just sort of looking to you to see what you're doing.
How old is Brightbird now?
How old is Brightburn now? God, Brightburn is, well, give me a history check.
Not that I'm proficient in that, but we're only minusing two now, right?
Yeah. Oh, if you're not proficient in it, you don't have to minus anything, though.
Oh, got 20 first roll. It's going to be a good session. Let's go.
Brightburn is old for a dog. You, from your earliest memory, Brightburn was there. Not even as a tiny puppy. I mean, certainly not full grown, but like, you still remember Brightburn being big, and you're 14 now, so that's 9 years. Like, his step is still just as lively as it was when you used to ride him around the kitchen, swinging like a wooden spoon around and brandishing it at your mother or Balak while they would be cooking in the kitchen. Eyes are still just as bright. Should be an old dog, but you'll be damned if you can find a trace of it anywhere in him.
Adorable. I love this. Yeah, Box just kind of like waits for him and waits so that he walks like in stride with her
Yeah.
and is petting him as she's walking, following the bird and just kind of murmuring like, I don't, this place has always been weird, but I feel like it just keeps getting weirder every day. What do you think? Yeah, yeah. Birds
Kind of
inside.
nozzles
Okay.
you and falls right into pace with you. The bird keeps going until you see it pause for a moment outside a door, look at you one last time, and then dart into the room. Um, this is Perrin's room here in the Black Mountain. It's a little below the main area where like most of you, even I think now still as children, like teenagers, you've all set up your own spaces in the peak of the Black Mountain, that pyramid where the night glass filters through the light. Um, these are Perrin's private quarters, and doors open.
I think Box like is hesitant at first, but like kind of peeks her head in. You know, she's a teenager with no one there to tell her no right now. So she peeks her head in, does a quick check to see if she can see anyone in there. And I'll roll for that if you'd
Yeah,
like.
give me an investigation check with advantage.
Oh gosh. Okay. Like normal advantage or just not taking two?
Take two away, but you do get to make the roll with advantage because the
Okay.
bird is helping you.
Yeah. Am I still? I'm not adding my bonus to it, right?
Do add your you add your bonus, you're just
Okay.
-2 from the
Okay.
bonus.
So the first one is going to be a 25.
Oh my god.
And let's see what the second one is. Yep, 25.
Amazing. You're looking around the room. No one in here. It's organized the way that Perrin would usually organize things. You see there's a kind of like this, not even a shelf, but more like a cabinet over to where when George was still here at the Black Mountain, George would like leave. It's not the first time that you've been in Perrin's room, I think, but I mean, you can tell me if this is the first time Vox has been in Perrin's room without Perrin there.
I think yes. I think she's always been a little too afraid of getting caught in there, but she's upset and she's rash and she's a teenager, so she's
Yeah.
not really caring. And the bird dove in there, and she's got Brightburn with her, who's
Yeah.
encouraging.
The bird flits over to that cabinet, lands right above. There's, it's kind of this old wooden cabinet. It's got that thing where there's just a bunch of sets of all these little small drawers that pull out little kind of golden knobs on each drawer. The bird lands right above one. It ruffles itself, little yellow feathers, and just gives one quick peck on a knob of a little drawer at the top of the dresser. Brightburn looks up at you, kind of cocks an ear, and flops over, and then like trots over to where the bird is and sniffs at the drawer.
All right, well, both of you really want what's in here. I don't think. Okay, all right, I'm going. I'll do it. I'll open the drawer, blame it on a bird if I get caught, I guess. And she's gonna pull that drawer open.
You pull the drawer open. In it is a small little lockbox. No locks on these little drawers, but within it is like this small, it's basically like, about so big. It is a lockbox though, and it is locked.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to bust that open real quick.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a thieves tools check. And again, you'll add your bonus, but take away 2 from the bonus.
$19.
You feel the box release.
All right. Well, is this what you want then? And Box is gonna open it up, see what's in there.
You open the box up. There's a smell to it that is immediately familiar as you open the box up. Crowned beetles have this smell. You used to find them all the time in the garden, outside the house. You know, this large, almost kind of like a stag beetle, but with like this little white furry collar around it, and less a horn and more just like this ring of little spikes around its head. The smell isn't unpleasant. It's like this woody, perfumey, it's sort of this musk that the beetle gives off. Give me a nature check real quick.
I'm doing really good right now, which
You
is going to
you
terrify me
are,
for later
yeah.
because I got a 17 plus 1, so an 18.
Oh my god.
I was a very nosy child as well.
Yeah.
So
Part of this smell is how one of the things that a crown beetle is known for works. They use this scent, and embedded in this scent are pheromones. It basically makes a trail that it and other crown beetles can follow to find their home, even over great distances. It's almost kind of like they have this little homing thing built into, like, know where to go. This crown beetle in there, you're looking at it and you recognize all the components because oh, actually, hold on. Maybe you don't, because I can't remember. Was Vox there when Perrin found all the spell components?
no, Fox
Okay.
was not there.
Okay. Then I
Fox
need
right now thinks the bird wanted beetle food.
Yeah.
It's like, is this
You
all
see it. You
wanted?
see a cockatine kind of like little yellow bird. Like one shiny eye is kind of on the beetle, but it's not moving yet. You're going to have to give me one last check in this moment. I need an Arcana check, but you can do so with advantage.
Oh, well, the first one was about 1, so let's. Second one is a 12.
Okay. 12. You're not sure for what. But you've seen people gather components, spell components, before. You remember Balak doing it all the time at the house. Like, asking you to fetch things, asking you to... The memory comes back. The last time Balak ever asked you to do something like that, to get him a crowned beetle from the garden. The day that he died. You're looking at these components in this little box. No idea what they go for. Like, magic is not necessarily your forte. You've been around it, but it hasn't been like... I think maybe the closest Vox has come at this point is the fact that you have that little tower in your pocket that Balak gave you with a rune on it. You're looking at these spell components. As you are looking at the spell components, you see the bird, like, realizing now that it's just sort of like perched right there above where you're holding the lockbox and looking down. You see it goes to kind of like nestle into itself and pulls out a tiny feather, drops it into the box. Without needing to make a check, the moment that it hits the box, you feel the hairs on the back of your neck start to stand up. Almost kind of in that Studio Ghibli way, like also your hair itself just kind of like starts to rise a little bit as this breeze. Black Mountain is enclosed, like there's no doors to the outside really except for the main window. Breeze. Smells like pine, evergreen trees, and forest floor fills the room. And you see a small sliver of light in the wall opposite you. Widens just a little bit. The smell gets more intense. You see the bird like looking at the sliver of light and then looks to you.
Where is this? What is Brightburn? What? Okay, don't tell anyone this happened. Either of you. What's. Yeah, I don't know either. This is definitely more Fauna's alley than mine. Where is she?
Widens a little bit more. You can see now through this gap of what was just initially light on the other side. A sun-dappled forest, beams of light casting through the trees, and a path through the woods. The bird looks at you and then darts off through the door. Brightburn looks up at you and like kind of like trots over to that little thing of light, and then right before going through pauses and then just looks back at you.
I think Brightbird's her buddy, and she's seen Perrin go through doors before. She's gonna follow through whatever this is, but she's also gonna drop like one of her training daggers down on the desk, just not knowing where doors go, but being a kid and just wanting to follow adventure.
And Vox pushing on what should just be the wall. It's like kind of like a door opening, but it's also just like it sort of melts away until the space becomes wide enough for you to walk through. And you begin heading down this path in a forest that opened up in the middle of an enormous antiquities building. Perrin, you're headed through the streets of Asparia. I think it's getting close to evening, not quite yet. The sun has not set, but it's getting pretty low in the sky. Night markets have not been set up yet, but that energy's there, like it's close. So there's kind of this, even though the streets are a lot more empty than they would usually be, there's kind of this bristling energy to it as you head into, from the outside, what looks like a small like little 2-story kind of like red sandstone building, typical architecture for Asparia. Inside, quaint little tavern, a few people drinking. Bartender gives you a familiar nod. And Eva, who is walking in front of you, just goes straight to the back and down a staircase into the basement.
Sorry, my audio switch was all goofed up. I think Perrin would just kind of pause for a moment and flip a coin to the bartender and be like, make sure we're not disturbed.
No check needed. This is not the first time you have been here.
Tell your sister I said hi.
Sure thing. Falling down the stairs after Eva, the temperature drops by about 10 degrees. Stairs go down further than most would in a building like this in Asparia. It's very old. The lack of moisture above ground is kind of made up for the fact that it's so insulated down here. You can feel the humidity changing too. Things get a little bit heavier, even as they get colder. Descending the steps, you get to the bottom. Dead end with a door on the left. Nowhere else to go but through this heavy wrought iron door in the side of the wall. Eva looks at you. Are you ready?
Yeah, usually. Except for when I'm not, but I'm pretty sure I am now. Currently.
Okay.
Did we need to worry about anyone following us?
I mean, you told Rickard upstairs to keep an eye out. I think we're fine. I didn't see anyone.
Yeah. I just didn't know who this, you didn't tell me anything. I don't know who this is.
I think the play will become clear, just like we talked about. Let me try it my way first. And if that doesn't work, you do what you need to do. Perrin, and also Fauna and Nyx, who, you're there on the stairs, having fallen, but, kind of, back in the shadows, slunk to the side. Not a lot of places to hide, but your stealth checks were both high enough that, all of you see Eva's form begin to change. The long brown braid, the brighter golden eyes, the hair begins to grow a little more dull, shorter, until it's just kind of messily chopped off right below the jaw. Streaks of gray in it. Almost like hair that is prematurely aged just due to stress and living conditions. Her face too changes. The bridge of the nose becomes longer. The mouth a little more thin and sallow and just kind of turned down. And see the lines of stress that it begins putting on. And standing before you now is no longer Eva, but what just looks to be a commoner woman, maybe in her mid to late 40s, tired, work clothes that are patched and torn. Looks at you, Perrin, and having seen her change before, Perrin, I think you know the nature of Eva's abilities. Same as Balak's too, which is that no matter how many forms they take, there's always one thing about themselves that they can't change. It stays as a constant thread, regardless of the form, and even Balak's were both the same. And Eva looks at you, and in her voice says, "Okay, let's go." And ties a handkerchief into her mouth so that she's gagged, puts her hands behind her back, offers them up to you along with a bit of rope to sort of bind them together.
Yeah, I think Perrin leans into that straight away, and I think he probably even pulls a dagger out.
Yeah.
In his large suit of armor, goes clanking in behind her, but kind of strong arms her into the room.
You go into the room. Fauna and Nyx, you are back up on the stairs. You see this whole thing take place. You see them, like, boom, go through the door. The door is beginning to shut. Let me ask you this. And just so I kind of, like, give you what's at stake. You got here without being noticed because of your stealth checks. If you try and slip in that door behind them, it's going to be difficult, and you will have to make, like, both of you will have to make an additional stealth check to do this. But if the door shuts, you know, it wasn't locked. And also, now they're not here, so you can get down to the other side of the door. Are you trying to slip in the door before it closes, or are you letting the door shut and then be there on the other side?
Are there any other, like, obvious or not as obvious ways to look into the room without going in through the door? Like windows or, like, cracks in the...
Give me... I think you're looking for something specific. Instead of calling this perception, we'll call this God, although your senses, Fauna, are so key.
I have really bad investigation.
Yeah, Nyx
also,
for yours, an investigation check, and I think for Fauna it can be a perception check.
Also, do Nyx and I know we're both, like, do
Yeah.
we see each other even though we were
Yep.
both stealthing? Okay.
Yeah.
That was a 15 for investigation, but as a teenager, do I have access to, well, I guess it's a racial feat, but I think it's like a third level one. I don't know. What level am I as a teenager?
Ooh, we're going to call it you are now, like, actually level 1 and not just a
Okay.
child, which I think maybe does give you access to some of your early spells, but you're not level 3 yet.
Okay.
I got 21.
Okay. 21 in perception, 15 investigation. Feeling around, I mean, it's all stone down here, so it's not like there's a clean window into the room. But feeling around, because you can feel that, like, I mean, a lot of these, like, the bricks themselves, like, aren't loose, but they're old, and a lot of the mortar's, like, chipped away and fallen away. It's very rough and uneven down here. Fonnie, you feel a coldness, almost like a little draft blowing from somewhere. Just past the door, further towards the dead end, there is kind of like a brick that is, like, not loose. It's certainly not loose enough to pull out. It's like part of the wall, but it is crumbled away enough that there is this small little gap that you can, it's dark. There's, like, down here, like, there's a couple torches that light the corridor down. In the room, just lit by a single torch. So it's just sort of this dim light that pervades the room. There's a little crack. Both of you can kind of, like, get in there to look without it really being obvious, especially since the light is so dim.
I forget. Sorry. Do we know about Eva shape changing?
I think because Vox is, because
like,
Vox
would we be surprised to see that or no?
No, Vox has done it
Okay.
in front of you. The only surprising thing would be like what is going on right now? Not, oh my god,
Okay.
like Eva just
Like, what the
changed.
hell was that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Nyx is just gonna uncork the bottle that they stole before slipping through, and take a swig themselves. They're like a little like, oh, that's stronger than I was expecting. And then they'll like pass it over to Fauna, like, you want some, but they'll nose into the crack.
What is it? Just wine?
What
was the bottle of?
What is it?
It's not like a magic thing, right?
It's
just
straight up
alcohol.
rat poison. That's right. The secret's been revealed.
Gotcha.
That's Perrin's real vice. If it's just alcohol, then yeah, Fauda would definitely
Just enough rat poison to not kill you every time.
just slowly kill you, not instantly.
Yeah.
She would definitely take a swig, and then pass it back to Nyx and
Cool.
like make room, like they like scoot over so they can
Mhm.
both like try and look through the hole at the same time. I think
Yeah.
like all of this was sort of communicated. Like, I don't think there was really a conversation. We both just sort of saw this thing happen and then we both did an assessment and then we both sort of like just moved to this spot, right? Do you feel like that's what happened, June? We didn't have like a whole conversation about like, oh, what's that over there?
Yeah.
The silent, like, glancing sibling glance of, like,
Yeah.
we're both in trouble if we get
Yeah.
discovered, so
Yeah.
we are sworn to secrecy to our grave.
Perrin, you step into the room, knife out, holding on to Eva's bindings. Center of the room, bound tightly to a chair with chains and a lock. You see simple man say, give me a history check, actually, instead of a perception check, to try and like get some info, like what this man seems to be about.
History.
Yes.
17.
17. Dressed very similar clothes to the ones that even this other form is wearing, like patched and kind of torn, sewn together. You can see that like the cuff or the leg of one of his pants is like kind of cut off below the knee, and it looks like an entirely new garment was fixed to just sort of like repair some sort of damage to the clothes before. But like, you know, you have two destroyed pairs of pants, sew them together, make a new one. The immediate read on this is like a level of poverty. I think you can see the dirt caked under the fingernails, and between that and kind of the ruddy complexion and the tousled black hair, you see just kind of these dark, kind of sadder brown eyes, just worn by time and labor. Looks to be farmer, probably from eastern Namira, you know, just across the river from Asparia.
Yeah, he's gonna kind of swing disguised Eva over to the side of the room and chuckle a little bit. Like he's trying to just portray general confidence.
Oh, Lord. Lorna, are you all right? They didn't... Please, don't hurt her. Don't hurt her.
Again? More? What?
I-
Would you say? Don't hurt her more?
Please.
Mm.
We've done nothing. Lorna, are you all right? I'm going to roll a deception check for Eva, actually, but with advantage. God, that is not very good. That's a 5 on the die. I mean, plus 8, but that's still only 13.
Perrin backhands him.
Cool. You know what? Eva's already... I guess we could say this imposes disadvantage on his, though. I'll allow that on his insight. 11 plus 13. There's a moment where, like, you come closer to backhand and kind of, like, naturally Eva just sort of, like, stumbles with you. He looks up at her and kind of... and then looks back to you. What's the meaning of this?
What's the meaning of this? That's the first time you thought to ask that question?
What's... Listen, I don't... Lorna?
Look, she's kind of out of it.
Where's my wife?
Had her drugged up pretty good.
Where's my wife?
What? Are you married to someone else?
That's not my wife. Where is she?
All right. Well, strange that you're asking questions right now. Why don't you be focused on answering questions? And Perrin's gonna walk behind the guy and glare at Eva and be like, "What the fuck?"
You see. Give me an insight check, real quick, Perrin.
11?
You've known Eva long enough. Even in this form, you just see a look of like the shoulders slump a little bit, not to play a character, but just as in like really hoped that there would be another option. You see that even in this slump, the form begins to melt away. The hair just kind of shedding and almost then like reaffixing itself. The long brown braid comes back. The eyes lighter, not brown anymore, but golden again. The nose a little more fair. The skin smoother, not filled with as much stress. And I think in a matter of seconds, Eva is standing before you again and just kind of slips the gag out. Oh dear. Eva looks at you. He's all yours, Perrin. And
Perrin's
Eva goes to like walk out of the room. Fauna and Nyx, you see this happening. I need another stealth check from both of you.
Nyx is going to throw like the corner of their cloak over Fauna and kind of pull her into the shadow. Will that work as like a help action for her?
You can't give, because you have to make a stealth check too, you can't then also give advantage. So you both just have to roll it.
I normally get advantage on stealth.
Oh,
Does
that's
that
true.
still
You do
apply
because
in
of the. I
this-
think you've got the
Okay.
kitten. I mean, you tell me if you brought the kitten with you, but
Oh yeah. Kitten
anyway,
goes
that's your
everywhere.
familiar. Yeah. So yes, kitten.
yeah,
I
I
guess
got-
now also a cat.
22.
Oh my god.
31.
Fuck. Okay. Eva.
Whoa.
Yeah. Eva opens the door, steps
Here, I was
out,
so proud of my 22.
Wait, shit.
up against
I
the
forgot
wall, drawing shadow to yourself in that corner. There's a moment where Eva just cocks her head a little bit, doesn't look back towards the dead end where the shadows are that you're crouched in. A deep sigh. And then begins to walk up the stairs, and the door shuts behind her. Perrin, you are back in there with the farmer, who is just looking at you like wide-eyed, not saying a word.
I'm gonna say some things. Perrin kind of rests the knife on the guy's shoulder and just like is like idly tapping it as he thinks. And he's like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna say some things. And you're gonna think to say some things back. You're gonna think, how much should I tell him? If I give him what he wants, well, will he stop? What you need to realize is that it does not matter if you give me enough. Perrin reaches down with the knife and slices his pinky off.
Give me an intimidation check with advantage. Also roll a d4 plus your strength damage for me.
Intimidation was a d20. Damage is 3.
So 20, like dirty 20 on
No,
intimidation.
that was a nat 20.
Oh,
Didn't even look at my sheet. I also have I have +7 on intimidation, so it's nat 20 +7.
Jesus Christ.
This is the scariest thing this man has ever seen.
I mean,
You-
cutting someone's thumb off with like no
you immediately
preamble
go
is
to the
pretty
finger.
terrifying.
Oh, God, God, I don't, why?
There is a woman, a shapeshifter woman, and she came and hurt a little girl. Oh, you don't need to protest, because look at me. Look at me. Do you think I'm going to believe bullshit?
Perrin, you see the initial panic, like there's still pain in the face. But you see that something drops from this farmer's countenance. Something in the eyes go a little sharper. Helpless externally, but internally you see a fire instead of panic. What are you doing with one of us? Why
There you go.
Why doesn't she listen to the call?
Yeah. All right, now we
Why?
can be honest with each other. Aaron spins a stool in front of him and, like, just kind of idly taps the sharp of the blade against the back of the guy's hand. Not even looking like he's trying to hurt him, just kind of doing it. And he sits down in front of him. All right. Your kind, your people, I'm not a huge fan. I don't know if you've heard of one or two of you disappearing over the last little while. But yeah, it's gonna go pretty rough for you all if I don't find a way to keep some people safe. So really, this is not a question of staying tough. This is funny, is it?
Safe. You're worried about being safe. Oh, friend. You're so far from it.
Mm-hmm. And you, how do you feel in this moment?
Honestly, I don't care what happens to me. I lived my life in service to a greater cause than you could possibly imagine. A family to protect children. What? There's 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to change a world. To save a world. With countless children. Countless families. Just like your precious family that keeps getting in the way every time.
You're saying you're fine because your family will live on without you? Or you're saying that you're happy that new families that aren't yours will get to live on?
I'm happy when we can flourish. She'd always told us that there was one of us. Well, used to be 2. 1 now. It was immune to the call. Did not heed the whispers, did not know the grand design. She wants to bring magic to a world where it's a lesser version. She is defined by sacrifice. shaped by loss. She intends to make this realm and the Fae one and the same. But to do that, she must get back. She has plans for your precious little family.
Yeah, I have no doubt. So once again, let me be clear. Are you wanting your family to continue to be alive, or do you want them to all be dead?
There are hundreds of us. We don't have families. We are each other's family. Killing me won't put them at risk. If anything, it'll just give you another cold, dead end. So go ahead. Do what you came here to do. Finish it.
Oh, you poor silly little goof. I'm not killing you here today. I'm going to keep you alive for years and years and years of pain. And I'm going to keep taking your people. And I'm going to keep cutting you into tiny, tiny pieces until I find a way to come to some kind of consensus. Because your little friendly lady, whatever her name is, whatever name she's choosing now, she's not the only one who can do things. And Perrin is going to reach behind him and open a door into the deepest, darkest, nothing space. Some forgotten cave that has a doorway erected in the corner. And that's it. There is no anything on the other side of that doorway. There's just an empty little cave.
Perrin, let me ask you this as you open the door. Nothing in there. It's just an empty little cave. Is this the realm between realms?
I think so. And you can tell me, but I'm pretty sure this Perrin dealt with Akshinikov much earlier, as we've discussed. So I think he's,
obeys your bidding. Like your beck and call. You open the door. A smell like rotting meat drifts out of this dark cave. And from deep behind the door there are like slatherings and gnashing of teeth. So hungry. Wait, what is that? What is that? You can't just keep me. Just what?
You know that feeling where you're so hungry you feel like you could chew a belt or shoes? You feel like anything that's soft enough to put your teeth into might lessen that hunger. That sound that you hear, it's trying to sink its teeth into the world.
Please.
Wants to eat anything. Please. Oh, now you're begging.
Just,
Aaron is gonna reach over and cut the other pinky off.
God! The smell of fresh blood.
That's 5
from
damage.
From the other side of the door. Can I have it?
Aaron throws a pinky through the door. So now the question, my new friend, what was your name again? Start over. What's your name? I'm Perrin.
I am an omen of things to come.
See, that just doesn't impress me, so just pick a name or I'll call you Bill.
She never gave us names.
Yeah, well, you should follow better people. Bill, that behind me, will never stop being hungry, even as it consumes you. And even as it consumes every one of your family members. It will just keep eating, because that's what it does. I don't want you all to be dead. I just want you to knock it the fuck off. So give me something, Bill.
She can't get back. It's barred. The path won't open to her. She can't go back to the Fey realm. The only way she can do what she needs to do is get back there, and she can't do it. But
She's got to walk the wild path to do what she needs to do?
the one, the child that you have with you, the one with the curse, she can walk the path. She can open it. Dinah intends to use her for that.
What a fascinating plan she has.
Please, just close. You hear from behind. Please.
Yeah, I think I agree with him.
No.
What? I'll see you. The fun thing is, there's not really time in the way you would normally think of it. So you'll feel hungry too, but you won't really need to eat. You'll just kind of be eaten. Anyone you want me to say hi to out here?
She told us about you.
Mm.
Do you know how many worlds where you fail utterly?
Perrin stands up, carefully moves the stool out of the way, and starts pushing him towards the doorway. I don't care about that at all. That doesn't matter to me. Do. See you later, Bill. And
Oh,
Perrin
please.
shoves him through the door.
Good God. From the other side, you just hear this skittering of multiple limbs just clamoring over the floor, and a quick, no, God, no, please, and just a thud, and then everything goes quiet.
I feel like, by the way, whatever's happening through the keyhole has got to be the most mind-breaking thing you two have ever seen.
From the other side, Perrin, you just hear, how much?
Wait, how much what? What? How much can you have?
How much can I have?
Yeah. Well, start a little slow, and if he tells you anything that sounds really interesting, it might help me track down some more of these ones. So, you know, might have something better for you. See what you can come up with.
I'll make a meal of it.
All right. See you later, Bill. Have fun.
Perrin, as you're shutting the door, give me a perception check. Or even, actually, give me an insight check right now. That's what I want.
15 insight.
Okay, 15 insight. Whenever you've opened this door before, the realm between realms, it is this place where you have... Ben, I mean, you can tell me how much has this version of Perrin ever tried to, like, poke at other versions of the same world?
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this a little bit. This Perrin is not he's not particularly curious. He's very tool focused.
Yeah.
So like I feel like he came to an understanding with Akinishthaf. How do I say his name?
Ushunakoth.
Ushunakoth.
Yeah.
Came to an understanding at a much earlier point, as we discussed. But other than figuring out some utility for this space, it's only he only has really incidental knowledge. I would say.
Cool. 15 insight check. You're like the realm between realms. It's a strange place, and even though it's much like crossing over to another version of it is never something that this version of you has ever done or been able to do, and you haven't really had a terrible desire to do it. The realm between realms, something about this place, a waypoint. On that inside, as you are like shutting the door, the smell from there floats in. There's this energy on the air. Something that Bill said before you pushed him through. In every world, you fail. And there's something about this realm, the potential that lies on the other side. It's like you feel the shudder of 1,000 dead worlds where you failed. And at the end of it all, sitting atop the heap, you were left alone. The door shuts.
Well then, guess I should go kill this lady.
Fauna and Nyx, you've seen this whole thing take place. I mean, parents down in here, what are Fauna and Nyx doing?
Fauna's crying. Not making really noise, but just like
Yeah.
tears like flooding down her face. I think she is a lot of upsetting things have just happened, but like especially Perrin is kind of like her dad. So
Yeah.
she like I feel like this Perrin is certainly not warm and fuzzy, but I feel like I don't think she's ever really like, whether it's because she has been willfully obtuse or just because she has parent like is not that way around the kids, but she definitely has never seen like this extreme of a side of parent before, so she's like very upset about that. She's also the thing about the curse, does she know, is that referring to her? Like, does she know that's referring to her?
Give me an insight check.
Like, I guess we didn't really talk about this, but like how much about who
we
she
didn't.
is,
Yeah, so
or were they all just like, yeah, this is just how you are, like no reason.
Give me
It's
an
fine.
insight check.
Nat one.
Oh, the horror of this moment has fully overtaken you. Like
This is literally the best possible result that
Yeah.
could have just happened for
Yeah.
Fauna to not know that was her.
Knowing what I've learned about Fauna, like through the years, can I also roll for Nyx?
yes.
Can Fauna be convinced that it's Nyx? That is the cursed one.
But I think you you almost didn't even hear the word correct. Like you were over. What was this door? What is the thing behind that door? What is the deal with like this poor man? What is he like? It's too much.
12.
Next, 12 insight. You hear the cursed thing. You look over. Not hard to connect the dots.
I think Nyx is just gonna wait until Perrin like exits out of that first initial room, and they're gonna break out of stealth and pull out their dagger, but not like make any move, and just march straight up towards Perrin and start talking now.
Oh, well, this is an interesting choice.
Fauna's just still crying in the background.
I think Perrin would go to knock the knife out of her hand.
Yeah.
It's contested.
Let's call it a contested. I think God, I mean, it's a disarming attack even if you don't have to. I think you can you make disarming attacks without the feet? Let's just call it
Grappling her knife arm in any case.
Athletics versus an acrobatics. So athletics on Perrin's part, and then Nyx can make an acrobatics instead of athletics.
12 again.
22.
Boom.
Yeah, Perrin's gonna at least grapple and take the knife, and then he's gonna turn it around and hold hilt first. You don't talk if you're gonna stab. You stab.
They slap
Do you
him.
understand that? That's fine. Do that before you start talking. That's the whole thing with a weapon. Do you want this back? Or are you going to be stabby, or do you want to talk?
I want you to talk.
Great, fine. Again, if you point this, you use it. You don't just say you're going to
You
use
have
it.
been lying to me since the moment I showed up here.
Name a lie.
A lie? Everything
What
I got
lie?
Ballot killed. You've been holding things back, holding back what they're looking for, that they're looking for her.
Oh, of course I'm holding things back. Was that not clear? I'm holding a lot of things back.
So tell us.
We're literal children. Balak and Eva both made
And when
me
has that
promise
ever
not to tell
stopped
you.
you? You have not
Stop me
treated us
from
like
what?
children
From
this
te-
entire time, so forgive me if I'm acting like an adult for once.
Okay. Well, you know what? That's fair enough. Perrin hands her knife back and... Do you want to talk here in this hallway, or do you want to... Oh, Fauna, you're here too. Cool.
Fauna is the more that whatever that argument discussion was escalating, the more upset Fauna was getting, and the more, I mean, Eli, you could tell me if this is something, but I
Yeah.
feel like it can just be for color if it doesn't actually do anything. The more like the air around her is like starting to vibrate, and I think she's not intentionally trying to do any kind of magic, but she's been studying magic on the sly a lot without telling anyone. And it's manifesting, I think, in a very out of control way because she's like really losing her shit right now. So if that has an effect on
Yeah.
anything, you can tell
Oh.
me, but otherwise it just draws
Oh,
attention.
it does.
Okay.
It does.
And it's getting worse. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
at first, like, because Nyx and Perrin are arguing, they're not really paying attention. And so it's like slowly building behind them without them noticing.
Behind you, Fauna, like you're channeling this intensity without even really being aware of what it is you're channeling, but you can feel with your emotions surging through you. It almost feels like inside you are like cracking into something, like not even something coming to break out of you, but like something opening. Perrin and Vox, both of you give me a perception check.
Nyx or Vox?
Or Nyx, yeah. Sorry, Nyx and Perrin.
Shit, that was terrible.
16.
7.
Nyx, you're fully focused on Perrin, not facing the... Perrin, you're looking back. You see Fauna there. You see behind Fauna... It's not like a sliver of light through a doorway. It is more like something like... The imprint is almost like something being like slowly clawed away and scrabbled as you see a sliver of light begin to open up at the back of the corridor. And as it continues to open up more and more, the smell of pine and evergreen begins flowing through this corridor down here. And Perrin, you can see a sun-dappled forest like beyond the wall, where this widening crack is continuing to just sort of like rip away at the bricks down here.
Nix, can you not stab me for a couple of minutes?
They
No promises.
yeah, they twirl the dagger like back into like a hold, but just glare at him.
I love how weirdly respectful Parrot actually is of all the girls. Where he's just like, it's cool if you want to, but will you hold off?
Just
I
hold
get
on.
it, but also
Hold on a
like,
minute.
hold on a second.
Stabbing later.
So still wearing full plate. Fauna. All right.
Stay away from me.
Fauna, behind
right.
you, you hear a rending as the last few bricks kind of like come tumbling out of the way into the hallway past your feet. And I think for the first time you're aware, give me a perception check.
$25.
Oh my god. You smell the pine now. For like the first moment, sort of, kind of backing away from Perrin. You smell the pine. Looking back, you see the path behind you. The corridor opened. A sunlit forest stretching on. And something else. Some other familiar smell. It's different. It's a little more like, if you had to put a note to it, there's a sourness to it that is like almost bitterness. Some way that the smell has been tainted. It's different, but it's still recognizable. Balak is in the forest behind you.
I think Fauna looks at, like, she is definitely in impulse mode right now. Like, she's not really thinking super clearly, but also Nyx and Vox and her are, I think, bonded in a way that even in this moment she is having a lot of trauma and confusion about Perrin, but like Nyx and Vox are like, they're like together forever. So I think she wouldn't want to just like leave Nyx, even though like her impulse is just run. I don't think she would want to like abandon Nyx without some kind of acknowledgement of that. So I think she would like look at Nyx in a way that conveyed her, panic and that she was about to take off, but like in a way that's kind of like, are you gonna be okay? Because she knows she's just like leaving Nyx with Perrin, and they just saw Perrin do like this horrible thing.
Yeah.
Can I-
So
Does Perrin recognize this place through?
Ooh. You don't.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, that's not true. Give me a history check.
9.
Something familiar about it, but it's different. Like you can't quite. There's something familiar about it. Maybe it's like in the smell or this, but like you can't place it.
Yeah,
Nyx
Perrin.
whirl- Oh,
No, you go.
just Nyx whirling around and like seeing this thing open up. I think they'll like look back at Fauna like just as bewildered and, but is that yours? Did you do that? And they'll spin over towards Perrin too to almost like ask the same question. And
Nope, that's her. If you guys want answers, you can have answers. If you're gonna sprint away into the woods, like, that's fine.
Fauna
Fauna, don't run.
chooses sprint away. Oh no, if Nyx literally said that out loud, Fauna would not.
Yeah,
sprint
and
away into the
they'll
woods.
like reach out a hand to kind of like not grab you and restrain you, but like grab your hand to kind of like ask you to stay.
Yeah, I think
They're
with
they're
that,
feeling like the threats on both sides, and registering Perrin as a threat, and kind of like I just want you here where I can take
Yeah.
care of you type
Uh,
of thing.
well, yeah, I think Fauna wouldn't just like want to abandon Nyx either, especially if Nyx was like indicating like a stay, we need to stay together. So she would be reining it in and fighting the urge to just run through the door.
So okay, so you can both open doors. What the
Yeah, that's
I mean,
less of a door and more
didn't-
of a different way.
I didn't mean to do that. I don't know how I did it.
You're okay, just calm down. Just breathe for a second. You start fucking talking.
Okay, what about?
What
Yes,
about?
I withhold a lot of information because you are children. You are now asking me for information, so I will tell you about the horrible things that I do to keep you safe. How much do you want to know?
What are you trying
You
to
th-
keep them safe from?
All of you safe, literally everyone safe from dying, the end of the world,
What is
everybody
chasing
dying.
her?
Oh, I mean, lots of things, but in this
Stop
case,
being fucking evasive for once in your life and answer it straight.
oh, no, I meant that legitimately. There's multiple things. I'm being pretty real with you right now. Like, there's a bunch of things. Like I mean, we can get into very specifics, but there's an end of world event. Your sister, I'm sorry, Vox's mother, Eva, is not an elf. She belongs to a different race of invasive parasites who will kill everyone. Eva does not like that and is trying to prevent it.
But Balak,
Oh yeah, him too.
Fauna's just no, Fauna's just like pointing back at the door.
What do you mean, Balak?
He's in there.
Seems unlikely. What do you
He's
mean?
dead.
No, I can smell him. He's in there.
Wait, really? Perrin like rethinks through the body that he saw to like remember if there was any potential that that was not actually Balak.
Not a chance. It was Balak 100%.
Fauna, is okay that you don't believe me, but I want you to look at me and ask yourself if I have ever done anything to make you deliberately unsafe.
You kept this from me, and we are not children anymore. And we could have helped, and we could have stayed safe if we had known what we were staying safe from. But instead, you treated us like we were worth nothing in this family. I deserve to know what is happening, and I deserve the respect of knowing that I can take care of myself and I can help.
Okay, I hear you. First
Right,
of all,
just
my
sorry.
goal was
Really quick, how old are we?
Like 14.
teenagers.
Yeah.
14. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious.
No, I
certainly.
think like, but I think like in
it's a hilarious thing for her
in
to be
this-
saying.
no, I
You've
don't think so
experienced
because
a lot.
in this type of world, like I picture it as more
Yeah.
like medieval times. Like 14 is like pretty fucking old for like
Yeah,
the type of world that this is. Like
but also still a child, like in
Yeah.
every way. Still, it's both and I think.
And everything in this world kind of wants to kill you.
Yeah.
but my
Par-
point is that my point is that we could be more protected if we knew what we were hiding from.
Perrin kind of like holds up his hands, like empty-handed, and he's nodding. Okay, look, full disclosure, I did not intend to be this involved with any of you. Balak getting killed has kind of.
Oh,
I like
God.
you all decently, but I'm not very good at this.
Fawn is just
I'm-
crying
Oh,
again.
shit.
I made a lot of promises to him about not telling you things before you were ready. I am not very good at this, and given, you know, the the general stabby nature of this conversation, clearly I've done a poor job. That's fair. That's on me. Also, is Vox still hiding behind me? Is she gonna leap onto my back? Because,
Baron,
it'd be cool if we could all...
Give me a perception check as you say that.
No, she
10?
stayed home. She was also pissed at you. Seems to
te-
be going around, and the one good thing you're good at.
Did you say a 10?
Yeah.
Cool. On a 10, you can't make it out. Path goes for a ways. Like, the forest extends out, it like indefinitely. It's not like, through that large. It's, I mean, really less of a crack now and more of just sort of this gateway in the back. Something in the distance on the path, kind of like moving through the underbrush, shakes it. You see movement in the distance.
If I can smell bad Balak, I don't really know what that is exactly, but can
You
I
gotta-
smell Vox if Vox is in there?
You did get a 25. On that 25, another scent comes to you, Fauna. You smell box.
I think Fauna's gonna lean more over to Nyx and just more quietly say, like, I don't think she stayed at home.
Yeah, she never does.
You did train that in us.
So we should all probably go in the forest, right?
I would...
You smell her in there?
And
Yeah.
Balak.
Again, do what you feel is right here, I guess. But the one thing I have been good at is teaching you how to protect yourselves, even if you don't know what from. Granted, yes, again, should have maybe told you more things about what, But Eva made me promise not to tell Vox all this stuff, and Balak was like, yeah, I'll take care of, Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's gone. I'm not very good at this, but things want to kill you. People want to kill you. All of you, in fact, for slightly different reasons. I've just been trying to teach you how to stay alive because that is the thing I'm good at. Granted, it's fine if you think that I didn't, but that's what I'm doing. So if you think that I want to keep you alive, if we can all at least agree on that and agree to disagree on everything else, it would be better if Vox came through there than if you went through, because I don't know what that is.
Do I?
Box, is that you?
I mean, how loud are you yelling?
Loud. Into the portal, whatever.
Cool.
the fuck it
Vox,
is.
give me a perception check.
Do we have any like the three of us? I feel like we would have developed some kind of signal or like way to communicate.
I feel like there's positively some kind of like Morse code sign language that you would have learned just being a bunch of library dorks.
Rude.
But true.
Nyx teaches them thieves can't.
Lovely.
I was going to say the real question is...
Yeah, Vox knows thieves can't too.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Yeah.
real question is what thing you would know to be able to communicate that Perrin doesn't know? So that's the question is,
Yeah.
do we think he doesn't know this, or do we think he does know it but never acknowledges knowing it?
The girls speak gibberish for sure.
Yeah. What's the perception check for Vox?
19.
19, very faintly. I mean, Vox, you've been walking the path now for not a terrible, like maybe about 10 minutes through this forest, following the bird from branch to branch as it like Sometimes we'll just hop. Other times we'll kind of take flight and dip down and cut in front of you on the path to alight on another branch further ahead. I think dimly in the distance you hear what might be your name filtering through the trees, but the bird stops, looks back at you, cocks his little yellow head. And Brightburn, now give me a perception check on Brightburn. Or we could even, God, let's call it, it could be anything. We're going to call it insight or animal handling. You choose which one you want.
Elijah, will you check Discord real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Great thing is I have advantage on both of those, and I rolled the same flat amount, so I rolled an 18.
18. Fox, Brightburn is acting different. You see, there's almost this, instead of being in stride with you, which he would usually be like very protective, ever since you got to this forest, he's been gradually getting a little bit like further and further ahead of you. You know, at first just a few paces, then 5 feet, then 10 feet, then 15 feet, like nervously kind of like running back to you and then running a little more ahead, coming back. You hear him whine in a particular tone that you have not heard him do in a long time, because this is how he used to whine when he was sitting next to the door and he could smell Balak coming up the path to return home.
Yeah, when Vox originally hears her name, she'll like whip her head around. But you know, when you're doing something you're not necessarily supposed to do and it's all kinds of little sounds, it's definitely that. So she's going to ignore that and kind of lean down, scratch behind Brightburn's ears and be like, okay, we're going. Lead the way. Wherever you want to go. I don't.
Turns around, takes off, just starts running down the path.
Why is it always running? Okay, sure. And she's just gonna start bolting with him.
Does Fauna feel like the forest is safe? Like, does she feel
Give me an Arcana
like she
check.
wants to go in there
Yeah.
because it is right, you
Give
know?
me an
Or is
Arcana-
it?
Yeah, give me an Arcana check.
I think even while clearly Fauna's considering this, Perrin just like kind of curses, and I'm going to loudly cast Zone of Truth.
17.
17 Arcana check. You've never been here before, Fauna. But there's something about it. Like when you meet a new friend for the first time and you just kind of know that there's already a connection there. Things are easier. They fall into place with less effort. And before you know it, you feel at home. There's something about the woods behind you that feels so at home.
I think Fauna is just tugging like Nyx's hand and is like, come on, we have to get Vox. She's in there and we'll be fine.
Before
Pulling
turning
Nyx towards the door.
to leave with Fauna, and as Zone of Truth is cast, Nyx is going to look at Perrin and say, I wish you died instead of him.
Yeah, me too.
And that is where we're going to cut to our 10-minute break. We'll be back in 10 minutes.
That is such a feisty teenage mad Nyx thing.
I'm not your dad for her entire life.
She thought that was
I
a
j-
fun bit they were doing.
He didn't laugh.
Okay, I switched us back. Nix, you say that, are you and Fauna like headed down the path? Cool. You both start to Perrin, are you following down the path? Cool. You
Yeah, he follows.
Great. You start heading down the path.
And under his breath, he's like, "There's a spell slot cast for nothing."
Both Fauna and Nyx give me perception checks. Actually, Perrin can too. All three of you, just not Vox yet.
Nat 20.
Nat 20. Ooh,
Are
nice.
you kidding me?
Double nat 20.
Same.
I
Fuck.
got 19.
Oh, that's so close.
Wowee. Okay, here we go. Wow, what is extra that is happening here? I got a 19. I'm just gonna kind of like lump Nyx and Fauna into the same category with that nat 20 on hearing a thing, and then
I mean, I also got a nat 20.
Perrin's, yeah, and then Perrin's is a little different.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Perrin, you're looking up through the path ahead. Hold on, where's my... There it is. You're looking up through the path ahead. Bits of light filtered through the trees. You can see small little animals here and there. Little squirrel, a little fox squirrel, like sharp pointed ears and a little bit more of a like vulpine nose to it, like running up a tree. A little flash of yellow in the distance. And you hear a distant bark. Through the branches, you see that little flit of yellow again. Small bird. 2 long feathers kind of behind it. And a familiarity hits you. You recognize the bird. Takes a moment to place it. Like, you know, you've never been in these woods before, but also that bird. Where have you seen that bird before? The Nightlands. You remember on more than one occasion, like coming across Balak back at camp, or somewhere like kind of like off, distancing himself from you and some of the other like occasional people that joined your party while you were in your trek through the Nightlands to learn what you could about Dinah, about changelings, about what her intent was. You recognize the bird because you remember on more than one occasion coming across Balak, like with the bird nearby, and Balak like was like using, like communicating with the bird. I think I think even this person Perrin would probably be like familiar with the idea of like wizards and whatnot being able to like essentially the spell speak with animals. But you,
Oh, I still have speak with animals.
yeah.
Felt like an unchangeable characteristic
Yeah.
of Perrin.
You place the bird. You've seen this bird before in the Nightlands with Balak. Fauna and Nyx, you also see this yellow bird flitting through the trees. You hear the distant bark of Brightburn. You know that like it seems like the path that you're on is like kind of running to the side of like where Brightburn is barking in the distance. Fox can't be far behind. Then you hear, both of you, something in the bird's whistle. A pattern repeating, almost like a song. And Fauna, you notice it first. Nyx, where do you keep your loonstone?
I think still around their neck. It's probably just a habit that never died. Tucked in though.
Yeah. Funny, you hear it first. Sharp ears. Something in the pattern of the bird song. A counter melody. An answer. Something stirring that even now, without the light of the stars, you see Nyx's loonstone begin to glow. Brighter and brighter. And the song that it usually plays when lit by constellations, or like under the light of the moon, basically the thing that, like a music box, so many times when you were children used to lull you to sleep up there at the top of the Black Mountain.
Nyx,
Ever so
you're,
quietly, it's
you're
playing.
glowing.
It kind of looks at Fauna like, what the fuck? Like, that's a weirdly timed compliment.
No, you're glowing. Fauna just points at Nyx, like even through, I feel like it's glowing, even though it's like tucked in, it's like glowing through like Nyx's tunic or whatever they're wearing. And Fauna just points at it.
Yeah, they'll look down, pull it out. They have like a set of like very thin leather armor that was fashioned for them, but they still wear like the Waxing Knight's undershirt now underneath, which fits them a whole lot better as they've grown into it.
Yeah. Loonstone. Glowing so bright. Playing the song. Both of you in this moment can give me an Arcana check.
$19 again.
21.
19. Nyx, you've never seen it do this before. The bird, closer now, kind of like, almost like it has darted off the path.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to subtract. It's actually also 19. I lied.
Got it. Bird darting a little closer to you now, kind of like trying, almost in an attempt to merge the two paths. Fox, the one that you're following, running after Brightburn. You hear the lullaby playing, Nyx. You've never seen it do this before by the light of day, but both of you feel a connection between the counter melody that this bird is singing and the stone responding to it. Almost like it's waking up, and Nyx, you know that this stone used to be capable of holding you. I mean, your body too, but capable of holding a soul. There's a lot in here. A magical box, like a storage for, I mean, at one point, a soul. What else can this thing hold? The bird alights on the path in front of all three of you. Perrin, you see it too. Stops the counter melody. Cocks his head. The stone still glowing, bright enough that it's like very visible even in the full light of the sun. And flits off down the path.
How
Nyx-
far behind is Vox from this bird and them?
I think you've lost sight of the bird, but you're still like, I think you were just following like Brightburn running now. So like there's,
Okay.
the bird has been gone for maybe 30 seconds, but Brightburn is still like boom running down that trail.
Cool.
This time Nyx is the one to grab Fauna's hand and run after the bird.
I think like Fauna recognizes the bird too, right? Because it was like from her room.
You do.
So she doesn't know the like significance of it as much, but she like does recognize
Yeah.
it, and she I think would recognize that this is where it's been going, right? When it's been disappearing.
Yeah.
So she would also be she would not put up any resistance. She would be very curious to
Well, I
follow
will
the
say,
bird
like,
as
not
well.
necessarily recognizing that this is where it was but like it was going somewhere. Like, you don't know that it was going here, but you know, it would and now
Okay.
now it's
But it's
here.
the same bird
Yes,
that she
definitely the
knows
same
from.
bird.
I think you're right. I think it's him. I don't know how. Like the smell and the song. I mean, come on.
Yep. We gotta follow the bird.
You both start running down the path after the bird. I mean, if Perrin's trying to keep up or just kind of taking is Perrin
I think he's
keeping
just
up?
kind of stomping
Taking
after
his
them.
time. Great. What happens is that both of you kind of like tumble into Nyx and Fauna, like the paths not that much further ahead sort of merge with Vox's other path, and you can see like Brightburn running ahead, and I think all three of you just sort of like tumble into each other as the paths conjoin, not falling down, but like you're all three here. Brightburn is still running, the bird now like flitting kind of like right behind Brightburn, just darting back and forth on the path.
Yeah, I think that Vox's first thing would like look at them and be like, "Oh, you guys are here too. We're following the bird, right?"
Yeah, I feel like Fauna would like
Yeah,
give
follow
Fox
the
a really
bird.
quick
We've-
hug.
Yeah, Vox
so
just like
much
grabs
trouble.
them by the arms and is like still running after the bird and Brightburn.
All three of you running down the path, following Brightburn, following the bird. Perrin, you're a little ways behind, close enough to like still see them running ahead on the path, but
Sulking.
yeah. All three of you at the same time enter into a clearing. The bird circles once and then alights on the mossy wooden roof of an old cabin tucked away deep in a forest. Moss on all its sides. And it's quiet here.
How did you guys get in here? Did you go through the door in Perrin's room too? I've been running after that bird this whole time.
You went through a door in Perrin's room?
You
Yeah,
went through
come
a
in.
door
We're in
in
Perrin's
the other
room?
room.
Yeah, I was really pissed at how hard he went on us, and I said, "Fuck it," and the bird led me there, and I've just been following the bird. How did you guys get here if not through Perrin's room?
We saw some bad stuff. Perrin did a bad thing, and then I accidentally, I don't know. I opened a door, I guess.
That's really cool. And also, Perrin always kind of does really shitty things.
Not like this.
All right, well,
Fauna,
we'll talk about that.
you opened the door to this place. In this clearing and in this space, cabin in front of you, quiet glade in the middle of a beautiful wood. Roll me one more Arcana check. And as the kitten sort of like jumps down off of your shoulder, or not kitten anymore, like cat, and just starts to, I will say in this alternate timeline though, like you have more of this like bestial connection with the cat, like without having to speak, the cat just knows what you want and what you're saying, and it's kind of like this, it's a much more animalistic connection. Cat gets down, just starts kind of like pawing at the ground, walking around. You can make this Arcana check with advantage.
Second one's a lot better. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You've never been here before. But like I said, there's something about this place that just feels so much like home. There's the smell of the pine trees. There's something else you can't place, like another smell, something wild and electric and fragrant and invigorating. A smell that sometimes, when you are channeling magic and thinking about it the least, comes from you. I think in this moment, you make a connection. Not of this world. Fae. The place where you are is not all that, but there's this little thing here built from, in this case, wood, a cabin in the mortal realm, but not of this world because its components came from somewhere else entirely. And it is like, even though this wood is a thing unto itself, and you can tell that, like, in this moment, even that as much as it feels like home, you've never been in these woods before, and there's something different about them. But in this clearing, in this space, it is like an anchor point. It is like a thing that doesn't just exist in so many other worlds. It is a thing that ties them all together in this one little point. Here, a place of great magic, because it knew great sacrifice and great loss. Within the walls of this cabin, you can feel in 100 different worlds have been love and the seeing of one another and allowing yourself to be seen, and the raising of, there's just something that feels so much about it like home to you in so many different ways.
Yeah, I think she would definitely just be drawn to it and just go up, like start walking towards the cabin, and without a thought of concern or worried that it might be unsafe. She's just drawn to it and wants to go inside.
You go to open the door. Before you, think you're opening the door, Amos flits down. Brightburn is kind of like right behind you. I don't know if, I'm guessing that Nyx and Vox, you kind of like following right in Fauna's footsteps towards the cabin.
Oh, for sure. There's something happening,
Yeah.
and Fox wants to be there.
Perrin, I think at this point you are just starting to like come into the clearing and see this cabin for the first time, and you see the three, you see your family about to walk into it.
Make sure you clear your corners on entry.
They just do whatever the flipping him off version is in D&D
Right, I
world.
think it's just flipping them off.
I think Vox's finger goes up too.
Yeah.
It's just all fingers.
You open
Nyx
the
has
door.
already been working on clearing corners and pauses when Perrin says that.
Like even more annoyed.
Despite
as
him
he's
not
like,
stop doing
Keeps
it.
going.
he did train me well. Ah.
Phooey. Open the door. No check necessary. Simple cabin. You can see in the corner of a room, like next to a little hearth, a simple countertop with a few kitchen tools, wooden spoon, an old pot. There's just a small stool on the floor. In the corner, huddled in a mass of like, just kind of like, at first it just looks almost like this mass of flesh, but you can tell like, arms, legs, but like teeth are like rearranging in its mouth, eyes like slanted and yellow, hair is like gray and in mats, and it looks like almost like pulled this creature, person, maybe, just sort of like in the corner, like just kind of like tearing at itself. And you can see as it tears, the face will like change to almost like go with the tear, and you see like bone and teeth exposed, and then lets go, and it sort of forms back into place.
Alec?
Looks at all of you. Looks at the stone. Begins to slowly, I think on all fours, the effort like groaning with it, begins to crawl towards the three of you.
Perrin comes in behind them.
Perrin, as you come in, I think at this point, unless the three teens are reacting, like Balak is getting to you. And Nyx, you can see at first like looking at all of you with like almost like confusion, and like then their eyes go to the stone. And they reach up. To reach for it. Give me an insight check, Nyx. Perrin also can. Like, you're coming into this whole thing. If you want to roll an insight check on this thing.
That one. I think they're just reeling from like,
Yeah.
not only are you alive and like, I want to be excited about this, but like, what the fuck? Are you even alive? Like, what is this?
Yeah. 15.
15. Perrin, this thing was in pain. Maybe self-inflicted, maybe not. It seems like, it, hard to say. It looks like, it could have been in here for 5 minutes. It could have been in here for 3 days, a week. Like, you don't know, but it's like, it's almost like at this point, even if it was wounded when it came here, it's done more harm to itself than it's like, it's not even really capable of being a threat right now. Reaches for the stone. Hand, I think, doesn't remove it from you, Nyx, but the hand closes around the stone.
They close their hands over it and cast Cure Wounds, first level.
Oh, first time in this little side thing. Casting a spell. Go ahead and roll the healing for me.
Sorry, I don't remember what the dice is, so I'm looking it up quickly.
I think it might be
1d8.
Yeah.
Nine.
Cure wounds. Hands closed over. Indeed, it is Balak. Holding the stone, all of you watching, you see as a light of recognition starts to come into the eye, the countenance changes, softens, where horrific, like, just kind of like stretch marks and almost like clay that has been pushed and coaxed out of position begins to relax, go back into place. And within the span of the amount of time, Nyx, that it takes you to cast your spell, You see Balak's face, the Balak you know, the soft, gentle, kind, big warm smile come back into focus on the face. The shoulders relax. Something in the stone. Fawn and Nyx, you both felt it capable of holding a soul, but what else can it hold? It could hold Balak talking, memories, song, a lifetime of memories put into the stone by a very wise wizard who had a feeling that someday the memories of his life together with all of you would be important. And as you see a dawn of recognition in this Balak's eyes looking at all of you, tears begin to form. Children, what?
Oh, there you are. It's okay. You're back. You're back. You're safe. I don't know how it's happened, but. And Nyx has just dropped to their knees and is like scooping him up.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
You were gone so long.
Oh, did.
Fauna's doing the thing where you hug two people that are already hugging. So you're like on the outside of like hugging
Yeah.
both of them.
Box is coming in, but she's like trying to like stare at his face like so hard. Like she's still crying and hugging, but she's just staring.
Balak looks at you. Oh. Little tornado. I'm
But-
so sorry.
No, don't be. You're here. You're okay.
You could be a little sorry.
Hello to you too, old friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is this? What is this place?
I have no clue, but right now I don't want to question it.
I think Fauna just she starts explaining the thing that she felt about like the house and the parts coming from somewhere else. But it's like kind of incomprehensible because she doesn't really understand it. But she's just like out of happiness and like relief of like Balak being there. She's just like,
Feeling this thing, and you must all know it.
yeah, she's just like trying to explain, but
Yeah.
it's just like a long rambling description of like Eli, everything you just said before when we came upon the
Yeah.
house, and they're all just like, what?
Box is like, I got here through Perrin's room and the lockbox in his drawer that I opened and then got here. And she like kind of put.
Whoa, wait, what?
Oh,
You should probably just have better locks. I don't know.
The spell that I left that I couldn't finish. You looks up and sees the bird. Oh. Oh. Well, I missed so much time with all of you. I think being the only other adult in the room, Perrin, give me another insight check.
19. Bless you.
You see a look pass over Balak's face. It's not just regret of having missed out on, like, whatever happened just now, whatever that, like, you saw Balak dead. Something is going on here. But I think you've been witness in some ways to the magic of the Loomstone that makes carries. Something given to this Balak. A lifetime of memories. Beautiful ones. And behind that is a deep regret. And you can see something that you don't know about. Given these memories, it's like it is both now your Balak and maybe also another one entirely.
Dun dun dun.
I only just now as a player put together some ramifications of what was going on. Q was like, yeah, this is that. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then just now I was like, oh, this means something substantial that I did not connect.
No, I'm sure everything will be fine.
Yeah, no, I'm sure definitely there's no side effects to this. Yeah, Perrin's gonna kind of like look around this cabin and he's gonna shrug and be like, well, they're old enough now and they're all fucking pissed that I haven't told them what's going on and just have been training them to kill things. So, like, that was supposed to be, that was the deal, and now they're all like, Perrin, you're a piece of shit. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I wasn't supposed to be doing this.
Balak, I think, gets to his feet for the, like, still, he's not leaving the hug of the three of you, but, like, kind of, like, starts to stand to his feet for the first time. I mean, Balak's not terribly tall. So you kind of all rise with him. I did not expect another chance. This is, well, this is something.
I love you.
Oh,
I never said it before. I didn't get a chance to until it was too late. But gods, I missed you.
there, Moonlight. Just kind of bends down and just sort of rests on the top of your head with his. All of you, I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. But you have no idea what all of this means to me. And as you can feel, like, for the first time, like, hand around the stone still, like, gives it a little, just a gentle squeeze. Lets it go. Well, what am I thinking? Let me get you something. Does anyone want anything? Tea, food? How far did you have
What?
to?
You're just pulling your own skin off and now you're gonna
Came
make a
back
meal?
from Dead.
Fawn is
Fuck.
like,
Go home
I
and
could,
see
I could eat
Mom.
some
Wash
soup.
your hands.
Yes. Yes. see bucket of water already like there over in the corner, goes and rinses his hands.
We need to maybe explain to Vox, like, what she is and all of that, and about Dinah. It's all
Mom told
happening.
me that I could change my shape. She's been teaching me all of that.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
We
the
need
rest
to
of
go
it though.
home and see. What
The
do you mean
rest-
the rest of it?
The rest of it. They just all need to know at this point, Balak.
Balak.
But Fauna wants soup.
Yes.
It's okay. I can
Oh,
wait.
so yeah. Oh, wait. I.
No, it's alright, I got it. And Perrin goes and puts a pot on to boil with a whole potato in it.
Just
Perrin
one
never learned
potato?
how to cook.
One whole
Yeah.
potato.
Oh, great. Bullshit soup.
Balak is going to come over and like sit down with the three of you as Perrin starts making bullshit soup. There are so many things I wish I could tell you. I'm so proud of all of you, and I want you to know how much I love you. Your life, all of you, your lives have not been simple. You've been wrapped up in the weavings of this world since before you were born. And it's not fair. It's not fair to ask a child to carry that and
Tell them about the part where you made me promise not to tell them too soon.
Shut up, Aaron.
quiet.
Tell the story.
I didn't want the three of you to live your lives the way that we have, feeling tied to a fate, or that every omen was a sign of doom, a thing to read, something to watch out for. I just wanted you three to have a life for as long as you could.
I feel like we're all like, oh yeah, that's so nice of you. Like everything that we were just mad at Parrot about, we're just like, because when Balak says it, we're like, oh, that's so, we love you so much. So you just try to take care of us. And Parrot's just like, what the hell?
There's and probably I think that over the next 10 minutes, like Perrin, as you're making soup, just to kind of like get to the meat of it, Balak explains a lot. Balak explains, Dinah explains how changelings, or, you know, what here in the mortal realm you all call changelings, how those are the children of Dinah, and how her intent here, I mean, it is like, I think Perrin, like, you're able to piece, like, if you interject some, like, it's easy piecework between you and Balak to be like, oh, you know, essentially what Bill said before you kicked him through the door, Dinah is here to do a great working of magic in the world, and in order to do that, needs to find a way to get back to the Feywild, a way to bring these two realms together.
Perrin is pulling out like his
Yeah.
research journals from various
Yeah.
pockets under his armor and like putting diagrams in front of the girls.
I think Balak like poring over these and then also like getting excited about like certain revelations, like things that, and Perrin, you realize too that Balak, this version of like, it's like you're watching somebody's eyes light up as they're like piecing memories together, and you like this Balak knows more than your Balak. The way that they are able to begin like piecing things together and connecting dots and like having realizations there like mid conversation with you and like, oh yes, well this means, you see these rapid fire connections taking place. A person who intends at whatever cost to this world to do something that she finds of the utmost importance, that she will stop at nothing to accomplish. No life is too important that it cannot be sacrificed to her grand design. Of
Wait,
which
she'll stop at nothing? Like the Filth King's nickname?
Oh, well, I mean,
I
I don't know if
that's
I don't know if you
what'll
want to
stop
connect
her.
that dot.
Is that'll be the thing? That's the only thing?
In piecing these dots together, there's a moment where Balak looks over to you. I think looks over to you, Nyx, or sorry, not Nyx, Vox, and Vox, you have the totem, the tower I gave you.
Yeah, Fox is gonna pull it out, and she's been like, it's wire wrapped, and she's been wearing it as a necklace.
Do you mind? Just
No,
only
not at
for a
all. I
moment.
mean, yeah, here. I've had it on me since the day you gave it to me.
Have to give myself some credit for that one.
What does that mean?
Tell me. When you look through this, what do you see?
I don't know. I've never really thought about it too much, and she's gonna pull it up and look through it.
Give me a perception check.
Oh.
You can do it with advantage. Brightburn's head is right there in your lap.
My sweet baby boy. Is Brightburn actually the happiest out of all of us right now? I got a 16.
16.
Excuse me.
You're looking through it. You've never really looked through it before, but in the, the light is pouring through the windows into this cabin. You look through it. Dark. But like a lens. If you catch the light right, you can see through it. And what you see when you look at it is like on the surface of a pool, almost wavering, reflected from somewhere. You're looking through it and you should be seeing Balak and Fauna, Nyx in front of you, the cabin. Instead, you see a scene, a version of Balak, cold-eyed, teeth jagged, carving into them like the point of a knife and pressing like dark runes into the etchings of his teeth. You see a house, not familiar, not the one that you grew up at, similarities to it. Similar structure, no garden around it. You see it burning. You see so many things with each like almost like this ripple of light that goes through the stone. Another new thing and another, stealing a blue mare, running from a town, standing in front of a massive black tower, a version of, looks like Perrin at your side, and a massive like strapping knight with like a mustache and blonde hair. All these things, memories, I think you can tell. Not memories, that's the wrong word. Something else. Possibilities. Ways to like reach out and change something, to affect something. Give me an insight check on yourself too.
Well, not one. I knew those 20s were going so good.
The least self-aware person
Yeah.
of all time, right
Yep.
there.
God.
You're lost in like these scenes that you're seeing. I think Balak kind of looks around. What do you see?
It was you, but it was horrible. You were not yourself, and
Oh,
he was there,
I know.
and this man I've never seen, and God, he was so pretty, but it didn't seem right. It seemed dark, and I don't. What is this? What does this even mean?
We, gesturing to Perrin, have no right to ask this of you. But your eyes are the eyes that can see in a way that even she can't, Fox. A child of a child, the first natural born in the mortal realm of her children. There's something that you can tap into that the rest of us can't. I don't know, some fey piece of magic, old, ancient. You see things in that stone where we would see nothing.
You can see where the hope is.
But it didn't seem like hope. I mean, Balak, you weren't this like
No.
you are now.
I know.
How can that be hope?
Control and the will to dominate robs us of so many things. And I'm so sorry for what I will be, or what I was. I'm not sure. not fair for us to ask you of this, Fox, but the way that it ends, if she does what she intends, no matter how good this world has been, there'll be nothing left of it by the time she's done. And I've no right to ask you to make a world that could be worse for you. But it's the only one where we have a world left.
What do you need me to do?
I need you to watch. To look, to learn how to read the signs, the things that could be, the things that will be, the things that cannot be. To learn how to, I hope with help, gesturing to Perrin, send aid back when it is needed most. To, I need you to be hope. You're the only one that can. But it has to be your decision.
There's no decision. You guys are all my family. I would do anything to keep everyone here safe. You and Mom and Nix and Fauna and even Perrin.
I think there is a world where you can, Fox. But in our world, magic requires sacrifice. And what you will have to sacrifice is not fair. But it is great magic.
There's one more thing she should know before she makes her decision. And Perrin looks at Nyx and kind of hangs his head and then looks at Fauna. And he's like, they should all know about my daughter.
You told me. You told me. You told me the girl was lost.
Yeah.
All right. I think it best, Perrin, if you go get her, bring her here, regardless of what this place is, an anchor in worlds or in your doors should work as they usually would. Get her, bring her here. I'll stay here with them. I think if I can be allowed it, I would just like a little more time with all of you.
Yeah, Perrin walks over to the door and closes it again and kind of looks back at them all. And he shakes his head and he's like, I meant to do better.
Old friend, if you knew the life, that I have lived alongside this. We all should be so lucky to get a chance at redemption.
Perrin considers that for a moment and then walks back to Fauna and pulls his gauntlet off and pulls a ring off and hands it to Fauna. I just wanted you to have a better family than me. And he turns and walks to the door and goes through it.
Fauna was gonna say something, but I guess it's too late.
Oh, you could catch him. He's a heavy boy. It's gonna take him a second.
So he's walking really
Clanks
clanky.
towards the
Yeah.
door.
I think Fauna would like take the ring and contemplate it for a minute, and then she would run. I mean, I guess it's not a very big space, but she would like go to catch up with him before he goes through the door, and she would just like put her hand on his arm, and after, I know we've all been through a lot right now, but I think really she did think of him as her dad basically the whole time, even though he constantly denied it. And I think she would just look up and say, "You all were the only family I ever needed." And then she would want to give him something in return, but she doesn't really like have a lot. I don't really know. Like my inventory has like nothing in it, so I don't know if she has
Just
some
make
little
something up.
token. She has.
We all know
little-
that Fauna picks up shiny rocks.
She as part of her magic practice, secret magic practice, she was working on carving little totems. Like once she like learned about foxes, so she has a little bird totem that she had carved, and she hands it to Perrin. It looks
Nice.
suspiciously like another certain bird.
It is for sure exactly. Also, Perrin in main timeline has a carved bird totem, and we don't know where it came from.
Listen, that fact did not escape me just now.
Perrin, you step through the door. The rest of you in this space with Balak take the time to... So much of the talk so far has been about big things. The earth shaking, plans that are so much older than the three of you. I mean, except for maybe Nyx. In the space of time that Perrin is gone, Balak turns the focus of conversations to ask you questions about your life over the last 5 years. You know, he hears about the Black Mountain, hears about just what it's been like. And also would let you know that this time is going to come to an end. That he's needed elsewhere. And I think that there's a point when he's conveying this information where he's like sitting down across from all of you, and he kind of takes all of your hands together and holds them in his. It's not fair that I should have to leave, but something bigger is happening, and I don't know. I feel two things. I feel as if I have a role yet to play. I don't know if that will keep me here or take me elsewhere, but there's something yet to be done with my life. And it's not fair, but when you leave this place, I can't come back with you.
So that's
What-
it.
What
We just
about
get you back for a little bit, and you're gone again?
Mom needs you? She was so broken without you.
We all need you.
I know. The risk for me to come back with you. I know to all of you, I'm the Balak that you know and love. But when I tell you that I have lived another life, I can't come back with you. I can't. I don't know what the consequences would be, but the reap. It is a parent's job, if that is what I am, and I would like to think that I am. It's always as long as the world has been. If a parent has one job, it is to protect their children. So that is what I am going to do. And I can't come back with you. And I'm sorry.
Vaughn is just crying again.
All of you gave me a chance to be something better. I can never repay you for that. But I can certainly try. And I think in this space we just kind of like the time in the cabin not necessarily done, but like having delivered this news, Balak I think gently tries to like steer away from that too, even if it's just giving you all the space that you need to grieve the inevitable departure from this place without Balak. Perrin, you go through a door. You are walking down a path in a wood different from the one that you were just in. But as you walk out, I'm not going to make it. You don't have to make a check for this. You realize a different version. Same forest, but changed. You realize now why the forest seemed familiar, even though you know that you'd never been there. A brighter version than the darker one that you now walk. Ahead, in a clearing larger than the one that you left. Like the outer ring of trees around the clearing charred from flame. Some of them dead, others still growing, but nonetheless like scarred with that fiery kiss that ate into their bark and the wood of the tree. You built this place on ruins that you made. And within the confines of this particular cabin, very different from the other one, you hear from inside the cabin low growls.
Yeah, Perrin enter like in a kind of measured pace, practice pace.
Stepping carefully one way, the other. In the corner, a shape, large horns, two sets of like gleaming yellow. I think in the here it's like it's nighttime, so the eyes aren't necessarily yellow, but they have that like night shine that you see as like the figure looks towards you, that catches, and you see that like those two sets of eyes catch the light. Fangs, you can see like gnawing just kind of like on this bone left behind in the corner. Dressed but in like scraps, kind of, and hiding a form. Like the scraps aren't necessary. It's almost like an attempt to like do something that was unnecessary, and that like some sort of like vestige of like trying to stay a person while increasingly becoming not quite that, covered in dark fur that is like matted in spots, long talons, and like powerful legs when they're crouched. Like it's the kind of thing that where like the knees are like kind of the inverse way, like almost like a satyr, and like hooves underneath.
Perrin's like digging through his pockets and has pulled out like a glittery stone that he's attached to a chain, and he holds it up so it catches the light.
Catches the light. As the figure comes closer, you see the eyes now not catching the night shine. So close to Fauna's. You don't have to roll for it. I mean, under your control, we'll say. You've done your work well.
Yeah, he leans in and like clips the new stone onto a necklace that has like various bits and bobs of just like whatever interesting things. Do you think you can meet some people today? Good people. We've talked about this before.
See, not making eye contact with you, but leaning a little closer and just sort of like smells on you.
You know that you can always stay here, and I will always keep you safe here. But if you're ready,
Walks to the door and stands next to it and then looks back to you.
She's gonna be there. Yeah, I think she would like to meet you too. But you cannot attack her this time. Yeah, that's the rule. Perrin's gonna walk back to the door and kind of like, with gentleness that he's not previously shown, kind of like smooth down the fur on her face. Pick a bit of like flesh or tendon off of her mouth and fling it away. Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to be bathing daily. I know it's harder to reach on your own, but you still have to try. Best behavior. As soon as you want to leave, you tell me. And Perrin kind of like concentrates on the door and pictures the other cabin that is this cabin and like tries to get a feel for whether he can pull that off or not.
Outside on a branch, just for a moment, you see a small yellow bird land and then flit away. And the door opens back to the other clearing.
Yeah, Perrin leads Flora through.
And I think that that is where we're going to close this session. Which also means this is where we're like, kind of like leaving off in alternate timeline story, because when we do our session next week, we will be back in main timeline. And so we'll come back and like keep visiting more stuff from this alternate timeline as the rest of Arc 3 progresses. And it makes sense to tell this other story that is happening at the same time. Thanks for anyone who tuned in, and we will see you next Monday. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.